G'day folks, welcome to the FJ Rebuild Part 4. On this episode we're going to be talking about storage, in particular rear drawers. So let's get stuck into it. So one of the most important aspects of the internal fit out of your four-wheel drive for overlanding purposes is the storage, and specifically the rear drawers. Now, rear drawers aren't absolutely essential, but they make life a hell of a lot easier. When I think back to when this car was brand new 6 years ago, shortly after buying it, I took it for a spin from Sydney all the way up until Cooktown. Now, Cooktown is about 3,500 kilometres away. I didn't have anything in the car, I just threw some bags in the back. When I got back at the end of that trip, I had barely used my proper camera gear, and I had filmed most of that trip on my mobile phone because the Pelican case containing those cameras was down the bottom of the pile, and on top of that I had another case and another case, and I had about 4 cases packed on top of each other. And so it was too much of a hassle to remove everything to pull out the bottom case. And so I never did. This is where rear drawers are very, very handy, because you can have all the things that you want inside the rear drawer. You can pull out the rear drawer and access everything, and you can also put things on top of the rear drawers. So what I'm going to do here is basically build my own rear drawers. Now, I don't have to build my own. I can go and buy some rear drawers. In Australia, Drifter makes some fantastic drawers for the FJ Cruiser, and even ARB make rear drawers for the FJ Cruiser, or pretty much any four-wheel drive. But when you buy an off-the-shelf product, you're stuck with whatever they happen to make. And I have some very, very specific requirements that I want to address. Now, I've reached these requirements by doing a lot of traveling and a lot of camping, and a lot of thinking about what works and what doesn't work. So I've probably used this tent well over 100 times now. I've been camping and cooking out of the car and using my setup, as I said, well over 100 times. And I've slowly built up in my mind a list of what worked and what didn't work, what I would want to change and how I would want to change it. So the problem with my previous rear drawers is that they were only this high from the floor up until here. And when I opened up the rear drawer, I had just enough room for a cooker in there and nothing else. And on the rear drawer where I'm sitting, on this side, the same thing, the drawer was barely high enough to fit a roll of toilet paper. On top of the original rear drawers I built another set of rear drawers. They were 2 quite deep long drawers, and on this side I had all my kitchen things in there. But the problem with that was I had to pack the kitchen drawer very, very specifically, because that's the only way I could get everything I wanted in the drawer. Open the drawer, I can put my frying pan on there. Here's my cutting board. So it was like a stack of plates. Everything, frying pan, plate inside the frying pan, bowl upside down, something inside the bowl. Everything had to be packed in a specific order to make it all fit. And it worked, but it was a bit of a pain to live with. So yes, I could slide out my drawer and have my cooker in there, and that was fantastic, and I had this slide out work surface. They were brilliant. But then actually getting down to using it and cooking things, there's a bit of a hassle having to rummage around and find the things and then be able to pack everything in again. And the other problem was I had nowhere to put my pantry items. So what I ended up doing was, in the passenger seat, I took out the seat base and I built a small little box to hold pantry items. So the challenge is, I want to have a set of drawers that makes a full use of this space, all the way from here till the very end. And I want to have my recovery gear and all those heavy things down below, and I want them completely hidden and out of sight when I don't need them. But when I do need them, I want to be able to get to them very, very easily. I want to have some storage for clothes, and I want to have some storage for all the shower gear that I need, shower and toiletries and toilet itself. So all of these things should be together in one place. Okay, so this is what I've built so far. This is made out of a material called E-Lite. It's very, very lightweight plywood. It is non-structural plywood, but it is still very, very strong, and it is super lightweight. So essentially what I'm going to have, right, so as you can see, I'm going to have two drawers, a top drawer and a bottom drawer, and the battery will be located in the bottom here, in the base of this, and the whole thing will be bolted down to the floor. Now, down the very end, I'm going to have my recovery gear, but I don't want the recovery gear, because that's big and heavy, I don't want that recovery gear in the bottom drawer that slides out, because that's going to add a whole lot of extra weight to the drawer, which I don't want. I want the drawer that slides out to be nice and light. It's going to have my built-in stove built into it, and some utensils and various other cooking related items in the bottom drawer, and that will slide out. But I want my recovery gear and all those heavy things to remain down the bottom of the drawer. And in the top drawer, I'm going to have pantry items and pots and pans and other kitchen related things in the top drawer, and that will also slide out. Now, the two things that I want to achieve is, like I said, down the bottom I'm going to have my recovery gear, and above it I'm going to have my clothes. I'm going to build a basically a space in the drawers to put all my clothes like you would at home in your cupboard. So I'm going to have space for clothes. Now, I don't want to have to pull out this drawer all the way till the very end to get to my clothes. This is the challenge. Same thing with the recovery gear. So basically I want to have the top drawer and the bottom drawer independent of where I'm housing the clothes and the recovery gear. So essentially I want to have two drawers in this top area and two drawers in this bottom area, one after the other, and one drawer slides out while the other one remains there, and the same thing with the top. One drawer slides out while the other compartment remains there. But the challenge is, how do I get to those items? So let's have a look at the side of the car and I'll show you what I'm thinking of doing. Okay, so this is the other end of the vehicle. You can see that the water tank is right up against the cabinet here, and I need to have a way of getting into my clothes in this end of the drawer, and I need to have a way of getting to my recovery gear, which is going to be down in the bottom part of the drawer. Now, obviously I can't get in from this end because of the water tank. I'm going to build something else over the top here, so that is going to be used up with something else. So I can't build a hatch, or I can't put a hinge in there to flip that open, but I can use this area to get to my things. So I've got this little hatch that I've made. It's got magnets, basically very, very strong rare earth neodymium furniture magnets, and that should stay on, hopefully, fingers crossed. And that way I can get to my clothes. And the next problem is I need to work out how I can get to my storage, which will be underneath there. Right, so I've made a drawer for my clothes. This is once again made out of the same E-Lite plywood. There it is. It's very, very lightweight, and I've got a portal so I could reach in and grab my clothes. Now the idea is that this will go in, simply slide in. Okay, so the idea is I've got this little hatch, open that up, and I can get to my clothes, and there's quite a lot of storage there for clothes. And if I want to get to my recovery gear or tools, then I can basically grab this drawer and slide it forward, and you can see that there's my recovery gear. I'll be able to get access to the battery, which will be over there. I will have enough space for tools and whatever I need down there. And then when I don't need that, so that's easily accessible, and when I don't need that, I simply grab this drawer, slide it over the top, and then I've got my clothes. So that's my solution. And the reason that I've chosen to do it that way is because I could have made another hole down here, another hatch, or I could have made this hatch bigger. But basically I'm going to have some runners, some drawer runners that go all the way from the front of the drawers all the way till here. So the inside of this panel will be taken up by drawer runners and various other things. So I can't actually make a hole here. So this is quite a good solution, I think. So that way I've got two independent storage areas, both top and bottom, that I can slide the drawers out this way and I can get to what's inside there really easily. So the next step is to essentially build the two drawers, and then I'm going to carpet the whole thing and make it look a lot better than this, and then put it back in the car, test it out, and then hopefully we're ready to then build the drawers on the other side of the car. So it's a little bit daunting doing one large piece like this in one hit, especially since I'm not 100% certain on how I'm going to cut it. And I think the best bet is to do this small sections at a time. So my plan is to stick on the top first, which means I need to apply glue to the top of the cabinet and to the bottom of the carpet, stick that on, and then work my way around the sides and the front and the back. So this is Sikabond Spray Fix, same thing I used last time. It's wonderful stuff. This carpet is marine carpet. It's actually called boat liner. So it's the same stuff that goes in your boot and inside cars. It basically is very thin. It's basically marine carpet. It's waterproof. It doesn't rot. It's really good stuff, but it's actually very thin. It doesn't have a very thick backing, so that means you can actually bend it around tight corners, and it'll take the shape of whatever you wrap it around. So let's get stuck into it. So if there are any upholsterers watching, I'm sure you'll probably tell me I'm doing it all the wrong way. But if you have any tips, let me know. This is the only way I know how to do it. Finally got it installed in the car. It's looking good. I still need to do a bit of work on the front here. I'll finish it off in the next episode. The battery is installed in the base here, and the whole thing is bolted down to the floor, so it's nice and secure. And I'm building these drawers in two halves, one for this half, and then this one's going to be a separate unit. And I'm doing that for two reasons. The first reason is it's much easier to be able to get them in individually into the car rather than lug one massive big unit into the car. And I want to be able to remove them easily. So if I want to remove this one or the other one, which I've yet to build, all it's going to be is 4 bolts and the whole thing just comes straight out. And because it's fairly lightweight material, I can do it by myself very easily in just a few minutes. So let's have a look. Okay, so this is basically as I had imagined at the start. So I've got a nice long work surface. I've got space for my cooker to be installed in, and I'm going to install that the next episode. I've got a storage drawer underneath here, and basically this drawer itself stops at this point here, and from here to the end I've just got this lid, but this basically slides over the top of my tool storage area, which I'll show you in a second. So this storage area here, my first instinct was to put a hinge along here so that I could open it up and take things out. And then I started thinking that's not necessarily the best idea, because every time I want something I have to take all the things off it. And also if I wanted to open this drawer, that's going to be in the way, so I have to pack everything off there, and that's not a good idea. So what I ended up doing was I've got this slide out work surface, and this is strong, so I can still keep pots and pans or cutting board or whatever I'm doing, and I can get into whatever I need. And this drawer opens and it's not in the way of whatever I'm working on, so this works really well. That's going to have pantry items, pots and pans, just general kitchen type things in there, and this just closes shut. And I'm going to cover the entire top of this with probably a thin sheet of stainless steel or aluminium sheet. I haven't worked out the material yet, but it's going to be something that's lightweight, easy to clean, easy to work with, and that looks nice. So that's still to come. As I said, I'm going to carpet the front. I'm going to probably paint the sides black to make it look a bit nicer, and that's basically this part of it. So I think that works really well. Now, let me show you the other part of the drawer. Okay, so here's the other end of the drawer, and as you can see, it's right up to my water tank, so I'm making full use of the entire length of the car. And this is my hatch for my clothes. Now, this is going to be probably carpeted, although I quite like the contrast of the wood against the carpet, but I will probably carpet that. Actually, let me know what you think. Should I varnish this and have it just wood coloured with the contrast, or should I carpet that? You tell me. So if I open this up, this is basically held on by magnets, furniture magnets, and in here is my clothes storage area. So it's quite a decent space, and I've got a light, I can turn that on and I can get to my clothes. Now if I want to get to my tools and recovery gear, then they are kept in this area down here, and I can slide that across and get to my storage, my recovery gear down there. Well, there you go guys, this is my set of drawers. It's almost done. I've still got a little bit of work to do to finish this off, and then in the next episode I can start work on the other set of re-drawers for this side of the car, and that will be probably a lot simpler than this, but still with a few interesting twists on that as well. So thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care guys. Thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed this video, you may choose to support the channel by buying me a coffee or making a small donation via our website, 4xadventures.com.au. You can also support us by buying a beautiful cotton t-shirt, jumper or other merchandise. If you would like a t-shirt with a four-wheel drive that isn't listed, contact me via the website and I'll see what I can do. As always, your support means the world to us and goes directly towards bringing you more great content. Thanks again for watching.